Hello and welcome to Wargame European Escalation. My name is Hob Gadling and today we'll be playing through the DLC campaign Fatal Error, first mission Ride of the Black Horse.
May 26, 1972. The USA and USSR signed the SALT agreement, restricting the number of nuclear weapons. Tensions seemed to decrease between the two superpowers. 1977. Leveraging a flaw in these agreements, the Soviets increased the number of tactical missiles along the Iron Curtain, directly threatening Western European capitals. June 18, 1979. Despite the Euromissiles crisis, talks continue and lead to the SALT II agreement. But when an American senator reveals that a Soviet combat brigade is deployed in Cuba, Congress refuses to ratify SALT II as long as the purpose of this unit has not been clarified by Moscow. November 9, 1979. It is in this context of renewed tensions that a NORAD technician runs a test program on a system aimed at detecting Soviet nuclear strikes, but forgot to switch the computer into simulation mode. At 3 p.m., NORAD computers start displaying some 250 Soviet missile launches. The White House is immediately notified, but President Carter is nowhere to be found. It falls to his national security advisor Zbigniew Brzezinski to deal with the situation. Brzezinski knows he only has 6 to 7 minutes to decide a response in case the attack is confirmed. While waiting for more information, he orders the B-52s to take off and the strategic missiles to warm up. A few minutes later, NORAD calls the advisor back to inform him that 2,200 Soviet strategic missiles have been detected. This is an all-out nuclear attack. The American response is ordered. No one has even thought of using the red phone to directly contact the Kremlin. When the oversight is finally discovered a few minutes later, the ICBMs are automatically destroyed on flight. But it is too late to cancel the conventional strikes. Fighting has begun all along the Iron Curtain. November 9th, 1979. In the Fulda Gap, CENTAG American-German forces managed to break the Soviet front. But their spearhead advances too far and is struck by an enemy counterattack near Welkerhausen. Our recon troops have been annihilated to the last man. It left us completely blind. In their last message, our scouts stated that large enemy armored columns were heading directly for our position. We must hold our ground and inflict enough casualties to stop their assault. To achieve this, you have to use our M901 ITW. Their missiles can destroy any tank at long range, but their armor is weak and their ammo is limited. Our M60A3 Pattons have better armor. They can form a strong first line of defense. Light armored vehicles such as the Marder and M113 can be used as scout units. They also have anti-air capabilities. You have to choose between several strategies. You may deploy your missile launchers in open fields to take advantage of their long range. You can also use your infantry to take the town in Echo. This would grant us control of a strategic crossroad and could disrupt enemy supply lines. You may choose your strategy, but you need to hold at all costs.
We'll be playing as Cavalry in this mission, so we'll have to emphasize the Cavalry virtues: speed, aggression, daring. The plan I have in mind is simple. We'll take the town at Echo with infantry, hold it as a strong point against any Soviet attacks. Our second strong point will be at Alpha. We'll be using that one as a reinforcement zone to call in more units. Anything that comes at us between Alpha and Echo will get to drive forward towards Delta. We'll pocket it and destroy it piecemeal. Speed is important. We need to get moving immediately. It's a good thing to note here that I kept most of my points in reserve. There's no use deploying tanks at our starting zone if they are too slow. It's better to risk it here, try to take Alpha and call in units from there. If we can get 20 tanks to hit Alpha within the first minute and a half, first 2 minutes, then we should be in a good shape. I'm essentially betting that the Soviets aren't fast enough. This is a race and there will be no second prizes. These are always the worst seconds when the command helicopter is landing. It always feels like such a long time. Looks like we succeeded. We can deploy tanks and other units to Alpha. The Soviets are just a few seconds late, but that makes all the difference.
What are your orders, sir? Engage in time. Are you talking to me? Ready to move, sir. What are your orders,
The
sir?
infantry we sent towards Echo is just about to hit the town. There's a lone Soviet scout in the town, but that's not going to be nearly enough to stop us. Speed will matter here. We need to get off our transports and into the nearby buildings. The M113s are a liability in the city, so I'll just send them back. Everyone should get off the main street immediately. We've taken some losses at Alpha, but that's acceptable. We've held the zone and can now deploy to the forests and hedges around it to attack the Soviet force from the flank. In addition to killing more Soviet forces, we need to kill 1,500 points worth of Soviet troops more than we lose. In addition to that objective, we'll also have to capture at least 10 Soviet supply trucks. We have captured 4 now, but the rest may prove problematic if the Soviets aren't willing to just drive them to us. Turning the town into a meat grinder with a company of infantry should be easy. I'm sending a couple of my own supply trucks in there. They are relatively easy to hide and they guarantee I won't be running out of anti-tank weapons anytime soon. better get out of there before those T-55s get a hit on my command helicopter. Fortunately, they don't carry a heavy machine gun, so while I'm airborne, they can't really do anything.
Spit it out. Advancing to coordinates. Read. Back. Orders, sir.
Right, looks like we have the town secured well enough. We can now start moving forward with our tanks to create a line. It's an invisible line. I don't need to put units physically between Alpha and Echo. It's enough that my guns reach the distance between those two zones.
Just spit it out. Lead. Oh, that's the get out of my. What are your orders, sir?
A lot of the fighting will happen at really close ranges, where infantry has a huge advantage against tanks, especially old tanks with no machine guns. The main gun takes so long to fire that most likely the tank will die before it gets even one shot off.
What are your orders, sir? Let's rock and roll. At the ready, sir. Ready to move, sir. What's up, sir? The only good enemy is a dead enemy. Why does it always have to be me?
Right, the situation is looking pretty good for us. We have a good strong point in Alpha. We still have a company of tanks left. We have a lot of missile carriers there. The infantry in Echo is in good shape and we have lots of supplies left. We also have quite a few of the M901 ITO carriers around the city, defending against any flanking maneuvers. The Soviets will need to do quite a large flanking movement to get around our positions now. Of course, simply defending isn't enough. I'll have to start thinking about pushing forward if the Soviet troops won't attack us. We'll need to blunt the Soviet force in the area, and in any case we need to capture enough supplies to meet the secondary objective. That's a couple trucks more. Let's see if we can get a bit greedy here. No, unfortunately, looks like the Soviets noticed. Still, that's 4 supply trucks more. Yeah, that looks like too many units. Still, the scout did a good job capturing those supplies and finding the location of the enemy main force. As we can see, it's approaching Echo. There's no need to start any offensive movements from Echo just yet. What we can do, however, is extend our flank from Alpha. If we can put some more fire on the advancing Soviets and East Germans from the flank, that's all the better for us.
Yes, sir. Ready to move, sir. We're on the move. Back to report.
Just have to be a teensy bit careful not to lose any tanks when we don't have to. That's the first milestone, 500 more. There's not really much to say here. Our positions are so strong, we won the race for good positions, that we can simply stand still and the enemy will have to beat his head against the wall in trying to dislodge us. Trying to punch through our defenses here is impossibly hard without artillery.
Das ist nicht mein. Munition, Treibstoff, Ersatzteile, alles was Sie wissen.
Even a large mass of armored vehicles stands little chance against infantry within the borders of the town. Even if I lose a couple of men, it's still worth it when every squad I lose kills a company of tanks. That's about 3/4 of the mission done. We still need to capture enough supply trucks to meet the secondary objective, and it looks like the enemy won't willingly just give them to us. So, in preparation for an advance, I'll need to get some supplies to my tanks and my missile carriers.
Jawohl, Kommandant. Auf die Beine jetzt. Auf Flug ist Information. Einsatzbereit. Ihren Dienst, Kommandant. Das ist, was ich für Sie tun, Kommandant.
Looks like someone is trying a flanking maneuver. A couple of BMPs should be no problem, and we have enough reserves to handle them, even if they don't simply drive to the killing zone.
Zu Ihren Diensten, Kommandant. Stellung verlegen. Das Transportkorps ist bereit, all Ihre Wünsche zu erfüllen.
The time pressure is starting to feel now. The empty M113s I have that survived the initial push to Echo, I'll take those and use them for a peek at hotel. With any luck, the enemy will have some undefended CVs or supply units there. That's the main objective. kill more than the enemy.
What are your orders, sir?
Of course, while we are in the lead, I don't intend to let the enemy kill any of my troops,
Talking to me? Ready to
not if I can avoid it.
lead. Follow me. Get out of my way. Just spit it out. Lead. Follow me. Get out of my way. Just spit it out. Ready to move, sir.
Unfortunately, we don't have any good anti-air units at the location. The best idea I have is to try and hide the vehicles between buildings, making it hard for helicopters to target me.
Yes, sir. Let's rock and roll. At the ready, sir.
And of course, the helicopter rockets don't do that much damage against tanks, so if I can withstand the suppression effects, I can just take the hits and drive forward.
Sollen wir wen mitnehmen?
At the ready, sir. You got something for me? Just spit it out.
That's a bad position for my patterns. They are being flanked by two groups of T-64s. We'll need to quickly engage and destroy both groups unless we want to take unnecessary casualties.
Warten auf neue Befehle, Kommandant. Der Feind ist in Reichweite. Das wir aber auch.
Why does it always have
Jawohl,
to be me?
Kommandant.
Just spit it out.
And that's 10 supply trucks. We had to go a bit further than I would have liked, but what can you do?
Den sollen wir für Sie transportieren.
Yes, sir. Give 'em hell, boys.
Zu Ihren Diensten, Kommandant.
Might as well drain the trucks dry while we are at it.
At the ready, sir.
Warten auf neue Befehle,
Yes,
Kommandant.
sir. Let's rock and roll.
And also capture every free truck we possibly can. We can use those trucks in upcoming missions and will be running short on supplies, so everything extra we can get here will come in handy.
Zu Ihren Diensten, Kommandant.
Unfortunately, there's not much I can do about those T-72s. My M113s only have machine guns, so they can't hurt the tanks. Also, they are running out of fuel, so if I'm unlucky, I'll lose them all here.
Kommandant.
Fortunately, those vehicles are empty.
Transportieren.
We got the trucks. There's no need to remain in such an exposed position. We can pull back, cut our losses, call it a day here.
Are you talking to me?
Есть для нас приказ.
And that's it. That's all objectives completed within 20 minutes. On average, each of our patterns killed at least a squadron of enemy vehicles. Some of the Jäger squads did really well. Fortunately, most of our losses were cheap APCs. That's the first mission in the DLC campaign. This is Hobgadling signing out. Peace.